So I'm going to search for the Caption module for Drupal. So chances are that you've filled out a myriad Captcha forms in your lifetime, but perhaps you've never heard the word Captcha. Captcha just means a test that's very easy for humans to perform, but very hard for bots to perform. So this right here is an example of an image Captcha. The Caption module comes with two options, a math Captcha, which has you do a math problem, and an image Captcha, and we'll take a look at them both. So let's install this. There's an alpha version that's recommended. So because this is alpha, it could mean that it will undergo some serious transformation over time. Let's look at how many users are using the 8 version of it. So a couple thousand users. So that's pretty significant for this release of Drupal. Let's give it a shot. I'm going to copy the tar link here and go back to our site, and we'll install a new module. Let's enable Captcha. So Captcha, by default, installs the math version of the Captcha, and then image Captcha layers on top of that. We'll install them both. Let's go ahead and configure it. I'm going to use coffee. And actually, this is revealing an examples page. Let's take a look at that. So here's an example of the math Captcha. 1 + 0 =, and then we have to put in something here. And then the image Captcha looks like this. You would enter the letters that you see in the case that you see them in. Okay, let's go to Captcha settings. So first we can set the default challenge type. With each form, we can set a different Captcha if we'd like. By default, it's set to math. I'm going to set it to image by default. This add Captcha administration links to forms is handy. If you're an administrator, when you look at a form, it will include a link that will allow you to click it to add a Captcha to that form. So that's handy. This further extends that feature to add links to administrative forms as well. Normally, you're only going to have trusted users using the administrative portion of the site. But if it's going to be open, say for demoing purposes, you can add a link to the administration forms that will allow you to enable Captcha for that form as well. So for performance reasons, Captcha keeps track of where the Captcha should display in a form. But if the form changes and Drupal's caches don't get cleared, then the Captcha might show up in a strange spot. So you can reset that here. I'm going to scroll down. Having this checked will display whatever text this is alongside the Captcha challenge. So if you want to explain to users why it is that you have that there or what they should do, you can add that here. Right now, it looks like by default, Captcha is ignoring the case. That is, lowercase and uppercase are ignored, but you can set it to not ignore that. And we can granularly set how we want Captcha to work when a form is submitted multiple times or a multi-step form is being submitted. So right now it's set to only add a challenge to the first step of a multi-step form, and we can make this persist longer to submitting forms of a certain type. So if a user submits a Captcha for a personal contact form, and then they go to fill out another personal contact form, we can omit that second Captcha because we've already verified that user. And we can be super permissive and say once a user has submitted a Captcha, we trust them and now they can submit any form they have access to without a Captcha. I think this setting is a sane default, so we'll leave it there. We can also keep some statistics and log Captcha failures, but we'll leave those as unchecked. We don't need those just yet. Let's click Save Configuration. Even though we looked at a lot of different settings there, we only changed the default Captcha type.